Security, remove him immediately. I don't care if his daughter's crying, get them out. The CEO's voice shattered the gala silence like glass. Chandelier swayed slightly from the force of his rage, golden light trembling across the polished marble floors of the Aurora Grand Hotel, where diplomats, celebrities, and billionaires gathered for the International Investment Summit. A little girl's sob broke through the murmurs. "Papa, please, please don't make them hurt you." Her small hands clutched her father's sleeve, knuckles white with fear. Jamal Turner, 39, black, janitor uniform still damp from cleaning the restroom sinks, knelt beside her. He wiped her tears with gentle fingers, voice steady despite the humiliation tightening around him like a noose. "Hey, Angel," he whispered, forcing a smile. "Look at me. We're okay. Remember what I told you. No one decides our worth, not even people in fancy suits." Her breathing slowed, a trembling trust in her eyes, a human touch moment, soft as thread, binding them against the storm. "Adorable." CEO Victor Langford sneered, adjusting his cup. "Perhaps she mopped floors too, someday. Keep your bloodline consistent." Gasps rippled. Some guests laughed nervously. Others stared at their champagne, pretending not to hear. Jamal stood slowly. He wasn't tall, but grief and endurance made him feel like a mountain. "Sir," he said quietly, "we were only near the stage because you don't understand boundaries." Langford snapped. He pointed at Jamal like one might aim a weapon. "This summit is the most important event of the year. We are expecting Mandarin-speaking dignitaries, and I will not have my hotel's janitorial staff lurking like rats." A translator rushed over to Langford, whispering frantically, "Sir, the Chinese delegation just arrived. They need immediate interpretation. Their translator was in a car accident on the way." Langford's expression twisted. "Unacceptable. Where is the replacement?" A hush fell. No one stepped forward. Langford turned on Jamal with a cruel smile. "See, this is what competence looks like. People with value." Not a tiny voice interrupted. The little girl stepped in front of her father, chin lifted. "What Kari Bondu Titmin? I can help them." Mandarin, clear, fluent. Silence detonated. Langford blinked, genuinely confused. What did she just say?" Jamal rested a hand on his daughter's shoulder, meeting the CEO's eyes with a calm that suddenly felt dangerous. "She said," Jamal translated softly, "she can help them." And for the first time, the crowd looked at them not as cleaners but as something they couldn't explain. "Impossible," Langford muttered. "A janitor's kid, speaking Mandarin." He laughed, brittle and forced. "Cute party trick. Someone give her a cookie." Jamal's daughter Maya shrunk back, fingers curling into her shirt. Jamal crouched beside her, thumb brushing her small hand, grounding her. "You did nothing wrong," he whispered. "You were brave. That's what matters." As he spoke, his mind slid backward 2 years ago, in a cramped apartment that smelled of burnt coffee and broken hopes. "Dad, what does Gentel mean?" Maya had asked, sitting at the kitchen table, legs swinging. Jamal smiled, the kind that hurt a little. "It means strong. Something you already are," she beamed. He held a flashcard, deconned to resist. Maya repeated it. Perfect tone, perfect pronunciation. Her talent felt like sunlight in a room with no windows. Back then, Jamal was preparing for a promotion as an international logistics coordinator fluent in 3 languages. Degree in progress, letters of recommendation ready. Maya used to sit beside him as he studied, matching foreign words like colors to her world. Then Langford happened. A falsified report, a misfiled shipment, an accusation of incompetence that Jamal never saw coming. "I'm sorry," HR had said, eyes cold. "We can't risk the company's image. Someone needs to take the fall." Someone, Jamal, his daughter, watched him lose everything in a single afternoon. He took the janitor job to stay close to the industry he loved, to learn the shadows of the palace from the ground floor. A chess move disguised as humiliation. He returned to the gala, eyes burning not with fury, but focus. Maya tugged his sleeve. "Daddy, am I in trouble?" He knelt, cupped her face. "No, never. You're the best thing I ever did." Langford clapped twice, mock applause. Heartwarming. "But this isn't a daycare." He gestured to security. "Escort them out. Their presence is a distraction." A woman stepped forward. Lena Cruz, hotel public relations manager. She hesitated, eyes flicking between Jamal and Maya. "Sir, with respect, we do need an interpreter." Langford's smile sharpened. "And we will get one, but not from them." He pointed at the exit. "Trash doesn't talk to royalty." Jamal's jaw tightened. Maya's lip trembled, but she didn't cry. Jamal rose, voice steady. "We're not leaving." The room tensed. The first move had been made. "You're not leaving," Langford echoed, stepping closer, disbelief curling into his voice like smoke. "You think you can defy me? In my hotel?" Maya squeezed Jamal's hand tighter. He felt her pulse like a hummingbird. He bent slightly, whispering, "Stay right behind me, no matter what." A woman in a silver gown scoffed. "He's delusional." A businessman snickered. "He probably learned 1 word online and thinks he's a genius." A waiter under his breath, "Poor kid. Life's cruel when your father aims too high." Mockery rippled through the room like poison poured into water. The crowd was an ocean tilting against them. Jamal felt the weight of eyes that had never seen him until they wanted to see him crushed. Langford raised his voice, booming through the room. "Everyone, may I present the evening's entertainment?" A janitor and his little sidekick, pretending to be gifted. Laughter erupted. Maya's chin dipped just an inch. Jamal touched her hair, voice barely audible. "Remember what Jantam means?" She nodded. Elena Cruz, the same woman from PR, took a hesitant step forward again. "Sir, respectfully, we have 5 Mandarin-speaking delegates waiting. If the translator doesn't arrive," Langford cut her off. "I said no, I won't risk our reputation to indulge some fantasy." Jamal's eyes darkened just slightly. "Reputation," he repeated, tasting the word. "The funny thing about reputation, it can shatter in seconds when the truth finally speaks." Langford blinked just once, but it was enough. A flicker of unease. Jamal stepped forward, not aggressive, but deliberate. "If you refuse help because it comes from someone you think is beneath you, you might lose the contract before the appetizers are served." The translator from the Chinese delegation approached cautiously, holding his injured arm in a sling. "I heard the girl speak," he said. Her tones were accurate, very rare for someone so young. "Maybe let her greet them, just to buy time." Langford turned red, rage flooding his face. "How dare you suggest?" Jamal interrupted, calm as a lake hiding a storm. "I didn't come here to take your job." He let the silence hang. "I came to take back what you stole." Confusion stirred through the crowd. Someone whispered, "Stole? What does he mean?" Jamal tilted his head, voice dropping to a whisper that somehow carried. "Check the container logs from the port of shipment number 4 for B." Langford froze. A bead of sweat slid down his temple. The first crack in the king's armor. Langford tried to laugh, but it snagged in his throat. "Shipment for 4B, he echoed, voice too high, too thin. I have no idea what you're talking about." Jamal lifted his chin. "You should. It's the shipment you pinned on me when the cargo was damaged. The one you claimed I mishandled. Cost the hotel millions, and used to fire me except..." He slid a folded paper from his pocket like a dealer laying down a card. "I wasn't even on the schedule that night." Gasps burst like fireworks. Elena Cruz's hand flew to her mouth. Langford scoffed. "A schedule? That's your evidence. Pathetic." Jamal unfolded the paper fully, revealing 2 documents fused together: his termination report and a time-stamped employee log from the same night. "Look closer," he said. His voice stayed soft, but it carried like thunder cracking. Board member Ms. Patel snatched the paper, eyes scanning. Color drained from her cheeks. This signature isn't the timekeeper's. It's forged. And the shift time, he wasn't even on duty." She turned to Langford, betrayal blooming in her stare. "You lied to us." More murmurs. Then a voice from behind the translator with the sling. "I used to work at the port. I remember that shipment. It was The crates weren't damaged, they were intentionally redirected, like someone wanted them to disappear." Maya held Jamal's sleeve, eyes wide but brave. "Daddy," she whispered. He squeezed her hand once. "Grounding human no matter how high they stand. Truth always reaches them," he murmured. Langford's mask dropped, rage leaking through the cracks. "You think you can walk in here and slander me with half-truths and paperwork? You're nothing. A stain on the floor I should have wiped off the moment I met you." Jamal didn't flinch. "Maya," he said. She stepped forward. Her voice rang out clear, confident, Mandarin slicing the air like silk. "I can explain what really happened that night." Her tone was poised, professional, expert. The Chinese delegation stirred. One delegate leaned in, eyes narrowed with interest. "She speaks like someone trained at university level," he murmured to the translator. "She's 8, Jamal replied, dropping jaws. Shock, disbelief. Langford staggered back. You trained her." "Why?" Jamal finally looked him directly in the eyes. "Because you took my career. But you won't take a future." He stepped closer, voice low and lethal with truth. "And that's not why I'm really here." Silence. Then a click like destiny loading. "I'm here because you owe us more than money." A tremor of panic flickered behind Langford's eyes. He lunged for the papers, but Elena Cruz slapped her hand over them, glare sharp enough to cut. "Not this time," she said. "Not again." Jamal reached into the side pocket of his janitor's cart. The crowd leaned forward, morbid curiosity mixing with fear. From beneath a stack of microfiber cloths and glass cleaner, he pulled out a black binder, thick, heavy, labeled in gold. "Port of Shangzhou incident reports." Langford paled. His voice wobbled. "Where did you get that?" Jamal didn't answer. He flipped it open on a nearby table, pages slapping down with authority. Document 1. Port security logs showing that shipment #44B wasn't damaged, was rerouted to a private warehouse owned by a shell corporation. The owner of the shell, Langford Ventures, Ltd. A ripple of outrage. What the hell? He owned the warehouse. Why hide that? Document 2. Financial ledgers. Payments to offshore accounts in Macau. Transfers labeled consultancy fees and contract cleansing. Dates matching the exact timeline of Jamal's mistake. The translator stepped forward, voice hushed but certain. "These records, they match the trade routes I used to manage." He diverted luxury goods to avoid customs, then blamed the losses on you. Langford's voice cracked. Lies, all of it. Fabrications. A sudden chime silenced him. Jamal held up a phone. This is what you said the night I was fired. He pressed play. Langford's voice, clear, unmistakable, poured from the speakers. Fire him. He knows too much. Leak the false report and get him out before he connects the containers to the Macau accounts. Langford stumbled, knees buckling. No, someone altered that. Jamal tilted the phone again. Another clip shorter, deadlier. He's a janitor. No one will believe him. And if they do, I'll bury him. Gasps, cries. A woman in the crowd whispered, "Oh my God, that's his voice. It's real." Maya stepped closer to the mic, her small voice a blade cloaked in silk. In Mandarin she repeated the damning phrase word for word, then translated for the room. "He said he would bury my father to protect his crimes." Silence crashed like thunder. Jamal looked at Langford, broken, cornered, exposed. This is where the burying stops. And just as security moved in, the head of the Chinese delegation stood. "We will not sign with a criminal," he declared. Langford's empire began to fall. Langford stumbled backward, palms slipping against the polished floor. This is a setup. You people don't understand. Without me, this hotel, this company, this entire industry will crumble. Elena Cruz stepped between him and the mic, voiced cold. "We survived before you. We will survive after you. The only thing crumbling tonight is your illusion." Two board members peeled away from Langford's side like shadows abandoning a dying flame. "We trusted you," Miss Patel said, voice shaking. "You told us he ruined the deal. You said the shipments were lost." She faced Jamal and Maya. "Sorry." Before Jamal could respond, the ballroom doors burst open. Badges, navy suits, the kind of presence that silences a room. "Victor Langford," the agent announced, "you are under arrest for fraud, financial misconduct, evidence tampering, and orchestrating a targeted dismissal to conceal criminal activity." Metal cuffs clinked like poetry. Langford thrashed as they grabbed him. No, I built this place. I made you all." His roar dissolved into panic. His voice shrank into a whimper. "You can't do this to me. I have children." Maya flinched, eyes stinging. Jamal knelt beside her. "Look at me, sweetheart. This isn't revenge." He stood, facing Langford. "This is justice." Langford spat on the ground, eyes wild. "Justice? You're just a janitor." Jamal stepped closer, not in triumph, but clarity. "No, I'm a father, and a father's love is more powerful than your entire empire ever was." A hush. Even the chandeliers seemed to hold their breath. He pulled from his pocket something small, creased at the edges. A photograph. Maya as a baby, wrapped in a blanket. Jamal smiling brighter than any chandelier's light. He held it like a shield of memory. "That's why I didn't break when you took everything. Because you didn't take the thing that keeps me standing." Langford's knees buckled. Agents lifted him. For a moment, he looked human, just a man facing the wreckage of his choices. Jamal inhaled a trembling breath of release. "I don't need to bury you," he murmured. "You buried yourself." As Langford was dragged out, reporters swarmed, cameras flashed, headlines were being born. Maya slipped her hand in Jamal's. "Daddy, are we free now?" His eyes shimmered. "Not yet," he whispered, "but we will be end together." They stepped forward toward a stage that once rejected them. Now theirs to claim. 6 months later, the same ballroom, once a battlefield of humiliation, gleamed with a different kind of light. Gone were the intimidating security guards and the hollow laughter of elites. In their place, translators, students, and young interns from marginalized backgrounds lining up for orientation. A banner stretched across the stage. "The Turner Foundation for Language and Trade." Opening the straightened his tie, still not used to wearing one end, exhaled slowly. Maya tugged on his coat sleeve, wearing a little badge that read, "Junior Interpreter." "You're nervous?" she asked a little. He smiled. "You." She nodded. "But being scared doesn't mean we're weak. It means we're getting stronger." Pride tightened in his throat. Behind them, Miss Patel approached, no longer cold and distant, her posture softer. "We've reviewed Victor's finances. Every project he sabotaged is being restored. And the board unanimously voted." She handed Jamal a document. "Director of International Operations." His name embossed in gold. Jamal blinked hard. "I don't know what to say." "Say yes," Elena Cruz chimed in with a grin. "We built this for you. Because of you." Across the room, the same waiter who once mocked Jamal hovered near the coffee station, avoiding eye contact. Jamal walked over gently. The man stammered. "Sir, I shouldn't have. I was wrong. I'm sorry." Jamal extended a hand. A second chance shouldn't only belong to the powerful. The man's eyes filled. He clasped Jamal's hand like a lifeline. Students began filling the seat, skids with accents, worn shoes, calloused hands, and dreams bigger than anyone had ever let them admit out loud. Maya stepped to the podium first, more confident, microphone adjusted to her height. She spoke in Mandarin, her voice warm like sunlight through curtains. "We are more than what they see. Our voices are our power." The crowd applauded. Jamal watched with his heart in his eyes. After the event, he slipped away to a quiet corner, clutching a weathered photograph of a young woman, Maya's mother, laughing under cherry blossoms. "I hope you can see her," he whispered. She's everything we dreamed she'd be. A breeze brushed the curtains, soft as memory. Maya found him there, hugging his arm. We did it, Daddy. He nodded, swallowing the ache in his chest. No, you did. I just held the door open. The Turner Foundation thrived. 3 languages taught, 5 scholarship programs launched, dozens of families trained in trade logistics, and communication paths Jamal never got to walk, but walked others toward. Maya translated contracts for small business owners, her voice steady, saving them from the exploitation her father once endured. During every session, she looked up at him proud. Present hand, he felt a warmth he thought he'd lost forever. One afternoon, sunlight pooled on his office desk. Alina knocked. There's a letter for you, she said quietly. From Victor. Jamal's pulse flickered. He opened it, handwritten. Shaky. Jamal, I don't expect forgiveness. Prison gives you too much time to see yourself clearly. I built an empire to feel taller. I tore others down to stay standing. You were the first man I couldn't break. I am sorry. Victor, no excuses. No bribes. Just a confession carved in regret. Jamal folded the letter and slipped it into a drawer. He wouldn't burn it. He wouldn't frame it. He would simply carry it proof that even monsters could crawl toward the light if someone refused to become one. Later that evening, Jamal walked Maya home under a sky bruised with sunset. They paused outside a park bench where they used to sit after his night shifts. Maya wrapped in his coat for warmth. Do you miss who you were before all this? She asked. Jamal thought, not of the humiliation, not of the fall, but of the man who never stopped holding her hand, even in the dark. No, he said softly. I miss who I thought I needed to be. Turns out, I was enough the whole time. Maya leaned her head on his arm. People are gonna tell stories about us. He smiled. They already are, she grinned. How should they end them? He took a breath filled with the hum of streetlights and distant laughter, and with a voice that had finally learned to believe itself, he answered, tell them dignity isn't something you're given. It's something you hold on to when the world tries to take it. A breeze carried the words forward into the streets, into the future, into anyone waiting for their turn to stand. End.